candidates for assessor, and on the right, the 2 candidates for coroner. We're going to start down on the far end, and you'll each give your 2-minute introduction, and then we'll go to questions. And what we'll do on the questions, they'll be specific to either the assessor or the coroner, and I'll ask you each to take turns being first to answer in your category. Hopefully that made sense. Okay.
My name is Jonathan Simons. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. My wife and I moved to Oregon. We lived a few years there, and then we were fortunate to find East Idaho as our new home. I own 2 small businesses, so I understand what taxes can do for people's income. I also want to see the people of Bingham County thrive and be successful in their farms and their way of life and their living. And I want to see our property taxes reflect that. I lived in high property tax places. I do not like high property taxes. I want taxes to be affordable. And so does most people I talk to. That's me in a nutshell.
My name is Donovan Harrington. Thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate people staying late. When you think about assessors and the coroners, you're looking at death and taxes, so we appreciate you being here. I've been the county assessor for 6 years. I was actually appointed in 2000, in July of 2000. I ran for re-election in 2022 and standing for re-election now. One of the things that we've tried to do with the assessor's office is, of course, have an open door policy. You're welcome to come in anytime and visit with us. Sometimes I get hung up over at motor vehicles. If you've been in there, you've probably seen me over there on that side of the assessor's office working with the clerks over there. And so I will oftentimes spend hours afterwards, once the courthouse closes, calling back people, or people have left messages on the phone. We just appreciate the opportunity to have served you the last 6 years. We can talk a little bit more as we go on. I hope there are some assessor questions, but we appreciate your support these past 6 years and look forward to continuing to serve you.
Been a resident of Bingham County and for my entire life. Served the community as a firefighter, or firefighter EMT for 30 of those years, and I've worked under 2 different coroners, and I've come to a point in my life where I can dedicate more time to this office.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out, and like Donovan said, thank you for sticking around. It's very important that we're involved in the electoral process and that people who want to improve their community show up and ask the tough questions and do the tough work. My name is Jimmy Roberts. I was built here in Blackfoot. I grew up on the East Coast, but when I retired, I came back to be with my family here. And I was lucky enough to spend some really good years with my grandmother before she passed. I've been a fireman paramedic for over 34 years before I got into the death investigation work. I got into that work because my father was the victim of a homicide back in 2004. That homicide took place in the state of Idaho, and that's when I discovered how broken the coroner system was. From that moment on in 2004, I spent all of my free time studying and working in death investigation around the United States as well as in Europe. I've studied at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, the St. Louis School of Medicine for medical legal death investigators, and I've also completed a program with the University of North Dakota as a death investigator. I just came back from presenting at the American Academy of Forensic Sciences down in New Orleans, where I was asked to be a guest speaker for a day, working on specifics of clandestine homicides, otherwise homicides that have been made to look like something else. I take the office of coroner very seriously. I put in endless hours. My wife will tell you what that looks like. That's all day, every day, whether it's taking calls, going to calls, working with investigators, or working with our interns. We created an internship program with Idaho State University so that the next generation of forensics can have some experience working in a real coroner's office. The coroner's office, when I came in, was a closet in the basement of the courthouse. And since that time, we have an office where our investigators can work, we have computers, and we have vehicles to respond to calls. Thank you very much for being here.
The assessors, and I think we'll start with Mr. Harrington. Explain how to assess property value.
Well, it's pretty simple. The Idaho State Legislature tells us where we're going to be at on our values. The Tax Commission comes in and does ratio studies on us, on our sales. The end goal is as a county, we're supposed to be between 90 to 110% of market value. And what that means is the State Tax Commission comes in every year and does ratio studies on commercial, industrial, residential, and of course our ag ground. And one of the things we've been able to do this last couple of years is to get the ag ground put on cash rent. Most farmers know what that means, and we've managed to change all that over to a cash rent basis. We try to keep the county between someplace around that 93-92% is what we're at this year. 93% is our value this year. And with the lower values, obviously means lower taxes for you.
I don't know how to follow that up. He gave you all the information you needed for that. The state does set a tax bracket, and the tax commission and currently Mr. Harrington are the ones that set the tax bracket that we fall in under Bingham County. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
How, so Mr. Tweedy, you'll be first. What do you think are the most important skills and attributes to serving as our county coroner?
All right. Can I talk loud enough?
Okay.
All right. Well, compassion, empathy, hard work, common sense, and a person willing to do continuing ed really helps with it. Good personal skills.
Really, the skills that I see are most important are somebody that has an attention to detail. Attention to detail and identifying all the things that affect somebody's life and the circumstances surrounding their death is incredibly important. Treating people with dignity, respect, getting to their level, whatever cultural, racial, or any kind of differences that they might have from other people in the community, we want to respect them. We have an incredibly strong relationship with our tribal community here, and that's only built through respect, taking the time to understand what they need, what the process is, and also you've got to ask the tough questions sometimes to get to the real answers. You've got to dig. You've got to do medical records reviews. You've got to look at all the possibilities.
as well as always sharpening your pencil. If you're not sharpening your pencil, if you're not studying, and you're not keeping up with things, then you're falling behind.
For the assessors, property taxes are rising sharply. This puts homeowners, especially those on fixed incomes and first-time home buyers, at serious risk. Describe your understanding of the requirement for periodic reassessment of property.
Property taxes, the more people keep moving here, the property taxes are gonna keep going up. A lot of that burden, I think, should be put on the home builders. The infrastructure needs to be put on the home builders. So that way, when our property taxes are assessed, we're not paying for the roads. The builders need to be paying for the roads, they need to be paying for the sewer, the water, to put the infrastructure in. The tax assessors are required to assess the property by the state. And when the state comes in to assess the property, tell us to assess the property, they dictate when it needs to be done. And I think a lot of the burden people feel are the new homes being built in the area and the additional money it's taking to maintain the roads, plow the roads, and to sustain the infrastructure.
So by mandate, we need to do 20% of the county every year. Have to touch 20% of the county every year. The state requires us to have a 5-year program, and in that 5-year period of time, we need to touch every residence and every piece of property in Bingham County. That's the answer to the question. How do we do that? We've got Bingham County broke up basically into 5 geographical areas. This year we're working in the city of Blackfoot, so the people of Blackfoot should be happy to know that your values will probably be going up. It's been 5 years since we worked in Blackfoot. What it comes down to is that Commissioner Manwaring had mentioned that we had gone, when I took office, we were at $1.8 billion in property values. We're a little over $5 billion today. As those values go up, obviously, the mill levies come down, and so Bingham County's mill levy has come down. It seems like it continues to climb. The tax commission, one thing that was kind of interesting, the tax commission in 2021, we were growing at about 3% a month. Oh, out of time, so I guess I can't talk to you about that.
The next question is for the coroners. Mr. Roberts, you're up. In 1 minute or less, describe the job of investigating a death.
Okay, when we get the report of a death, we investigate any death that is not under the care of a doctor. Anything that's a homicide, suicide, natural, undetermined, any child death we investigate. Once we get the call, we respond to the scene. Once we get to the scene, we'll make contact with whatever family member we have as well as the officer in charge. We'll do photographic collection as we go in to assess the decedent. In the process of assessing the decedent, we'll collect any information we can through the interview process. If we come to a place where we have to determine to do an autopsy, then we have to also contact the autopsy facility in Ada County. And before we're able to get there, we have to file lots of paperwork and lots of reports so that the forensic pathologist is able to work on that case with everything that's available so that they're not working in the dark. Once that is completed, throughout this, we're always in contact with the family. Once it is completed, we will sit down with the family and go over all those results. That's 1 minute. Thank you.
Well, that's a one-person question because he has said, I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's explained exactly what needs to be done for that investigation. I agree with that.
What are the qualifications to be an assessor, and do you meet those qualifications?
So if the question is, can I go out and put some value on your home, the answer is no. I took the job as a manager, an office manager, when I was appointed. I have staff that do that. We send them to school to do the revaluation. So I have a team of 5 people in there. The assessor's office is also responsible for the GIS mapping and the surveyor. We take care of that portion of it. We take care of recording your deeds, or not recording, but platting your deeds and such as you come in. We also take care of the motor vehicles. So I looked at this job when I first took it in July of 20 as one of being an office manager or being able to work with people, being able to work with the public. I've continued to do that. Have I gone to school and such? Yes, I have. Have I certified as an appraiser? No, I have never done that. I didn't feel like that was something that I needed to do where I had staff that could do that for us and for on behalf of the members of the community. So that's the end of my stop again. I keep getting that red stop sign. So.
Honestly, all of what he just said. For me personally, I like working with the general public. I like working with the people of Bingham County, working with them to overcome hurdles that they might have, or questions that they might have for the properties that isn't well known to them, but we have the ability to educate you and tell you about your property. I just like to serve, want to serve Bingham County, and that's a lot of what I do.
For the coroners, what method of transportation of deceased will you use to transport people's loved ones, especially when autopsy is required? Is transportation ever done in personal vehicles, or are they done in county vehicles?
All right, for the first part of the question is, I would utilize the nursing, the funeral homes with what they have to offer and keep the costs down, air conditioned car, and make things as quick as possible back and forth from the autopsies. And as my understanding is, they don't go in personals, they only go in county vehicles.
When we need to take somebody for autopsy, it's really important, number one, that we have them in a secure location where nobody has contact or access to them, especially if there's any kind of evidentiary value. Number two, we transport in county vehicles. Since I've come to office, we have 2 county vehicles that we use for transportation. One of them was repurposed through the Sheriff's Department, so we got that at a very reduced cost. And the second was purchased through PIL funds, and we were also able to secure a power mode stretcher system. So that protects our death investigators as well as provides a secure transport for our decedents. We transport them as soon as we possibly can to get them to Ada County. Once that autopsy is over, we immediately get back on the road and get them to the funeral home that their family has requested. Whether that's Pocatello or Idaho, we work within reason to make it easy for the family. Thank you.
For the assessors, what is a mill and why does it go down as property values rise?
On this question, I honestly do not know what that is. Sorry.
So budgets are put together, counties decide, and taxing district, whether it's a library district, a school, whatever, they decide how much money they need to operate their budget on. That number then is taken and pushed against the value of their respective district, whether it's a school district or the county or a city. They then take that, the total value, and it's the budget number they want is pushed in against the value that's available to them, and that's what comes up with the mill levy. That's how your mill levy is determined, in a nutshell. I've got 30 seconds left, so I want to go back to one. In 2021, when the county was seeing real extreme input from outside, our markets were taken off. One of the things that the tax commission did is they came in and did time-adjusted sales. I'd never heard of such a thing. But if a home sold in August, they would make us push because we take a look on January 1st, and if we had a home that sold in August, you had August, September, October, November, December. You had 5 more months, and they made us push it 15% from the actual sale market because the market was changing that quickly. And that's why a lot of that value took off in 2021, 2022.
Coroners, what is your plan for working with local healthcare facilities, and what is your policy with regard to stillbirths?
So currently, the Idaho State Legislature made a change in stillbirth investigation. This happened in this last legislative cycle. Stillbirths are not required to be, the coroner is not required to be notified by the physician or the whatever facility where the stillbirth takes place. So that essentially is a non-issue any longer. We work with our local healthcare facilities as well as the Southeastern Idaho Public Health District. I work with them very closely on things like suicide prevention, as well as providing data on trends that are happening within our community, what's causing the deaths in our community, and trying to look at all those factors so that we can address systemic issues and any other things in our community that will ultimately prevent those deaths.
Both the hospital and the birthing center have written policies. The state has what they're required, and that's what you go by is what the state wants you to do. Keep things to a minimum for interruptions, but still first deaths and babies.
Okay, last question for the assessors. If elected or re-elected, what are your top priorities going into office in the next term?
One of our top priorities for us in the assessor's office is when it comes time to BOE, Board of Equalizations, is to kind of eliminate those completely. We've had as many as I think 12 that one year, but we try to work with the public. When you get your assessment notice in June, if you have some concerns about your value, that's when you need to come into our office and sit down with our revaluation team and let's go over why where we're at on the value of your home. We'd love to have you come in and visit. We enjoy the opportunity to work with the public. I see us continuing down the road that we are currently on, and sales in the county are continuing to be, probably in my opinion, twice what they should be. But the high-end homes, a lot of them are starting to slow down. Instead of getting the $775,000, they maybe have to take 50 off of that and sell it for $7.25. On the $300,000 homes, they're selling pretty quick still. So I don't see any difference in any changes on the trends of what we're doing there at the assessor's office.
For me personally, better communication with you all, everyone, to where you can come in whenever you need to discuss your property value. I personally would love everyone to come in over time and do that, just so that way you can see where your property value is at, to where you're not, in a sense, blindsided by a property value that you have. And that way you can see the process that is taken for your property value and why it's set where it's at, and working with the other departments that fall under the assessors to have better customer service for you guys and to help the community out better.
In my past profession, I worked for an 80-man career fire department that ran over 8,000 calls a year, and I managed all their training and education for fire and EMS. I have a lot of experience there. I've had experience also as being a coroner for the past 5 years, managing our budget and managing the growth of that budget. One of the things that's changed and was one of my goals when I came into office was to make sure that the coroner's position was a full-time position, because it is. If you take it seriously, this job is full-time. I currently am able to collect the same amount of money as every other elected official at $94,000 a year. I only take $47,000, and I do not take any benefits from this county. And the reason I do that is because I want that money to go back into the coroner system so that we can take care of our families appropriately.
I've just started looking into the budget and the expenses that need to be brought under control, that the budget's doubled in the last few years that the county really can't afford. So I see that there's places that can be tightened up and stuck to the budget.
No, we're done with you, Dog. Okay, now we'll have a 1-minute summation by each of you, and we'll start with Mr. Roberts.
I'm honored and humbled by being your county coroner for the past 5 years, and I hope I'm able to continue for another 4 years in that position. We literally brought this office out of the basement of the courthouse where I couldn't meet with families. We now have the opportunity to meet with families. Our investigators have places to do their work. We're respected not only in Bingham County, but in the state and around the country, because we now meet not only state standards, but we meet national standards. I happen to be certified by the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators. There's only 1,700 certified medical legal death investigators in the country, and I happen to be one of them here in Idaho for this community. I'm committed to you, and I will always do my best and work overtime to take care of you and your families to the best of my ability.
Not a public speaker. I am continuing my education to do the coroner's position. I have more time to dedicate. I'd like to dedicate more time to it. I know I can do a good job in the county.
Thank you so much for coming this evening, especially for sticking around as late as you have. Appreciate your, we definitely would appreciate your vote. I just invite you to come on in anytime and sit down and visit. My office door is always open. I've got an excellent staff. I trust them dearly with a lot of the things. One of the programs that's going on right now is the circuit breaker. So if you're over 65 and you want to bring in your information, there's a circuit breaker program that'll save you about $1,800 in taxes if you qualify. We're playing to the dying community. Last year we did a little over 700. This year we're just about 580, I think, is earlier in the week. So there's room for a lot more applicants if you want to come in and visit. That's good until April 15th is the cutoff on it. But we welcome you to come on into the assessor's office and let us know how we can help you better understand the tax cycle and how it affects you. Thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank all of you for staying for literally death and taxes. And please get out and vote. Get your friends out and vote. Voting is what keeps this country going and is going to keep Bingham County going as well. Donovan's done a great job with his team. I'd just love to have the opportunity to be a part of building a good future for Bingham County with what he's already established.